Hey there. Welcome back to another episode. Today, we're diving into some really important topics that many parents of teens, especially those with neurodivergent kids, grapple with. We're going to chat about why our teens sometimes have those big reactions to seemingly small problems and why reducing screen time can be beneficial and really how to tackle that. So, grab your coffee, beer, cocktail, or any treat of choice, and let's dive in. Thanks so much for pressing play, and welcome to Parenting Powerhouse. I'm Tara Travell, your host. As a mom on the wild ride of raising a neurodivergent teen and young adult, wild ride meaning roller coaster, I get the ups and downs all too well. I'm also an educator with a passion for social emotional learning, and I've really made it my mission to empower moms like you to be your own heroes. So, first, we're going to talk about those big reactions to seemingly small problems. It happens with our younger kids when they're in elementary school and growing, but then it continues, or sometimes with our teens, it seems like the smallest thing really just throws them off. So, those moments when your teen just seems to blow up over something that seems really minor? Well, for me, whenever I ask B to do something like water the plants or clean his snake's cage, I get a big sigh or a loud right now? Really? And then he stomps around while doing whatever it is that I've asked him to do. And it can be super confusing and frustrating, right? Well, there's actually a solid reason behind it. I've done a lot of research, and this goes especially for our neurodivergent kids. We know that their executive skills are developmentally delayed. They're a lot weaker, which is really that brain's management system, and it's just not fully developed yet in our neurodivergent kids. And even typical kids, but especially atypical. Well, research has shown kind of recently that these kids often have more white matter in their brains early on. Now, this isn't a definite thing. The research is still going on, but this is what science is finding, that their brains have more white matter. Well, you know what? This might sound like a good thing. I mean, white matter is what we need to learn, okay? But it actually means that there's a lot of over-connectivity happening. Their brains are really trying to, sort through tons of information, all the social, emotional stuff, and it just takes longer for them to process everything. So what I really want for Braden to do is to comply and follow through with whatever task it is that I asked him to do. And they're tasks that he can do. It's not like he can't do them. So if I just say something back to him, it's only going to cause more friction, right? And so I have to think, what is my objective? It's really for him to do something. And I really focus on just that. I want him to do something. I want him to do something productive. I want him to help me, whatever it is. So what I do is I just let him regulate his emotion the way he needs to, as long as he isn't destroying anything, throwing anything, kicking anything, whatever, or being really nasty to me, like calling me a name or just being really rude or mean. As long as he does what I ask, that's the objective, right? So let's get back to the brain here a little bit. This slow process continues through adolescence and then even into adulthood. And while typical developing brains, they increase white matter over time, which really helps in handling tasks more easily. I mean, it's kind of spread out. So they're learning it over time. Neurodivergent kids, they have a totally different trajectory. And one of the best things we can do, really, not just the best ways to do this, but if we recognize and accept that our kids might be maybe 3 to 6 years behind in their neurodevelopmental age compared to typical developing peers, well, this means we should match the skills that they're learning with their individual readiness rather than those societal norms. It's really all about patience and understanding. This is what we have to think about. Take a second or two and just kind of recognize what's going on and remember, what it is that we're really dealing with. If we take it personally, like they're, coming back at us personally, then we're going to miss this. We're totally going to miss this understanding. So, by the way, I just want to let you know that if you're a mom navigating these types of challenges and really looking for more guidance and support, I've actually created a course just for you. It is totally packed with strategies and insights and practical advice to help you and your teen thrive. Whether it's dealing with the big emotions like we were just talking about, or finding ways to reduce screen time effectively, which we will talk about, this course has got you covered. You can find more information and sign up by following the link in the show notes. I'll put a link to Parenting Powerhouse, the website. I'd really love to have you join our community of supportive moms. This is application only, so it's really not for everybody. And I don't want anybody to just sign up. I'd like to be able to talk to you first and answer your questions before we go any further. So go ahead, check out the website, check out the link. I'd love to hear from you. So you're here also to listen to my ideas for reducing screen time for our teens. This is huge, right? I mean, times have changed. So let's talk about screen time. We all know that, it can be a real challenge to get our teens off their devices. I don't know any moms out there, whether their kids are neurodivergent or not. I don't know anybody who doesn't have trouble with this. But first, we have to ask, why is it so important to reduce their screen time? Let's think about that first. Well, there could be a lot of different reasons. We want our kids to be productive in maybe other ways. We want them to explore new interests. We want them to use their energy positively and be more social. So first, we need to recognize why we want to reduce their screen time. Is it because they're struggling in school and they're spending, too much time on screens? Maybe they're not spending enough time with family. That's all they want to do is play their games with their friends, or, they're at the table while everybody's eating and they have their phone and watching a YouTube video. Or, this is a big one, is it because we're actually being influenced by what we read and hear about, the dangers of too much screen time? Other professionals are talking about, hey, got to get off screen time, got to get these kids off. It's not good for their brains. It's, whatever. Well, sometimes our beliefs, stem from our own experiences. When we were young, I know when I was young, we had places like malls and the roller rinks to hang out, arcades, whatever. We just went to different places and our parents maybe dropped us off, or, we were able to get there on our own. We could walk or bike all over town. But today, those opportunities are really limited. Our kids can't travel by foot or bike as easily because of how populated and busy our areas have become. I mean, think about it. A lot of kids just can't jump on their bicycle and ride down the street because it is super heavy traffic. The roads are so much bigger. They're always making everything more and bigger, and it's just dangerous. So once we really put this into perspective and understanding this, it's going to take a bit more effort on our part now. We need to really ask ourselves, hey, what harm is there really in being on electronics? Okay, you might not totally agree with me. Just think about this. Just listen, because we need a perspective change. We need to shift our perspective to think differently, to be able to come up with better ways of handling these situations. So you think about it, for many teens, this is their main way of connecting with the outside world. When we were kids, we could just hop on our bikes and find friends at the local park. Today, it's totally different. So if we want our kids to find productive things to do, well, we need to help them discover these activities. This means spending a little bit more time with them, introducing them to new hobbies and interests. Shoot, it could be an activity that takes 10 or 15 minutes. So hear me out, because it is okay to start real small. Sometimes baby steps end up being the best for our kids because they really need a lot of exposure to the same thing for it to click. So these are some examples that I have actually tried and worked. I mean, I've tried a lot of different things, but this is just a couple that have worked. So first I got B to help me with the garden. I'm not a real gardener, but maybe like watering the plants, doing little things here and there. And I also had him, just like if I was going to bake a cake or brownies or cookies or whatever, I would ask him to just help measure out the ingredients and put them together. And then maybe mix something up if that's what he wanted to do. And then just go and do his own thing. Like, I didn't need him to hang out with me. I didn't need him to stay there. Just a little bit of exposure, baby steps. I didn't want to put any pressure. I just wanted to give him some introductions to different things. And, after several times, he started his own greenhouse, after a while. And now when I want to bake something sweet, of course, like cake or cookies or whatever, he is all in, and he's actually talking to me and helping a little bit more. I have to admit, though, he does spend a lot of time gaming and on YouTube. So what I did was I just kind of adjusted a little bit, and I thought, okay, with YouTube, these kids are learning a lot. Actually, sometimes I wonder if he's not learning more good stuff from YouTube, more practical life stuff on YouTube than he is in school. Okay, that's a whole nother idea or situation, or something for discussion later. But what I do now is I let him tell or like teach me some of the things he's learning, like something that he likes or something he's really interested in. Now, I may not care to know it. I don't maybe feel like learning it. Maybe I don't even have the time, or I feel like I don't have the time, but it's really a great way to connect and make YouTube more productive. Haha, see, I could just 3 minutes. He can tell me a lot in 3 minutes, and that satisfies him. And it also satisfies me knowing that, hey, you know what? I'm connecting with him and making this like something a little more productive and real for him. So remember, our guys are really social creatures. Even if they say they're not, blah, 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 they are. And often they want to do things with others. They really don't want to be in isolation. So it's really about creating opportunities for them to engage in more meaningful activities, helping them to connect to things, because their brain executively just really can't come up with ideas. And then even if they do come up with ideas, are they actually able to plan what to do or find out how to do it, or even initiate the task or manage their time to do it? I mean, we really have to think about all these things because they are challenges and they are delays. So we're there to kind of help, support, and kind of move them along the way, even if they're tiny, teeny baby steps. So to wrap things up, it's really all about understanding and the patience, recognizing that our neurodivergent teens might be on a different developmental timeline, and being proactive in helping them discover new interests outside of screen time is really the key. So let's take the time to be there for them, guiding them with that empathy and support that's needed. I want to thank you so much for joining me today. I really hope you found our chat helpful. And don't forget to share your thoughts and experiences. I'd love to hear from you. So stay tuned for our next episode, where we'll dive into more topics to help support our amazing teens. And don't forget to check out the course for moms I mentioned earlier. It's a great resource that I'm sure you'll find valuable. Until then, take care and talk soon.